want to be careful with that. Dayton Town Council is a special meeting that's come to order, and we're here to talk about the golf carts. And we're going to have, we'll read the ordinance first, and then it will be, motion be made to either adopt it, and a vote will be taken, and if it passes, which I hope it does, we'll open it up for comments from the residents, and I would ask that, 5 minutes, and try not to let everybody have a chance to get up there and say what they want to say. And then it'll be adjournment, right?
Yeah.
So, can you hear me back there?
I can hear you, thank you.
Okay, thank you, because I appreciate this.
Don't want to bother your hearing aids, John.
Yes. And I thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay,
John,
Joe.
in your procedure, let me make a suggestion.
Okay.
After Ashley or whoever makes the motion to vote on and approve the ordinance,
Yes.
then I think you should take comment from the members of the board. And
Okay.
then I think you ought to open it to the people
Fine.
and have their comments before the board.
Before the vote.
Before the vote.
Okay.
I think that would make a more democratic.
I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, and I think that's a good idea. So, would you start out and read the ordinance? I know everybody's got a copy. You want it read? Would you like it read?
Sir, is this the only, I came in a little late, just off work. This is the only item tonight, there's no other agenda items?
That's right.
That's
Oh,
right.
okay. Just making sure, thank you.
The chair had just asked a question. Does the assembly here want this read, or are we to conclude that you read it and they can go forward? We'll do whatever. If there's somebody who hasn't had a chance to read it or something, I can read it. That's what his question is.
If everybody's got copies, then we don't need to read it, correct?
They may not know which copy you were.
Well, they got the latest
They got the
copy,
latest
right,
one.
Ron?
He just handed it out to everybody.
I just printed it.
Okay. And you printed them out and gave them to the audience? Okay, I'm good with that. Is the audience good with that?
I believe the audience is good from what I see.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead and make your motion then.
I would make the motion that we adopt the Golf Cart Ordinance, number 2015-5.
I second the motion.
Then a motion made and probably seconded, we adopt ordinance 2015-5. Now, we'll open
Comment either from the
comments
board
from
or from the audience.
let's go with you first.
I think the Golf Cart Committee did a good job putting this together. It's not exactly what I'd like to have, but it's close enough to work. And, maybe as time goes on, things can be tweaked or added or whatever to it. It's a start anyway.
I also think this is a good ordinance. It seems like the majority of the town does want golf carts, from a lot more than I've seen people have negative responses to it. I think it's a good start. We can always amend
Can you
it.
hear us back?
If there's any problems, we can always amend whatever later on if we run into issues, but I think it's fine how right now.
I am happy with the results here. I was a little skeptical at first. I was concerned with the safety of the citizens of Dayton, both the people that's on the golf carts and the residents. And I think this is a good starting point. I think that eventually it can be tweaked like Ashley says. And personally, I think I can support this. And at first I was a little like this, overwhelmed with it, but I'm willing to, I'm kind of a short-termer anyway, and I kind of feel like, I might be dumping it on somebody, but after talking with the board and the two that aren't here, I called them before it came, And of course, Mike, he couldn't make it, and Tammy, she couldn't get the time off. And so I think it's something that we can work with, and the new board can do what they want. And I think it's time to move on. So with that last comment, if one of the residents would like to step up to the podium, state your name and address, and
Terry Lewis, 651 Marquee Circle. Wondering how much time we had to get all this stuff on that golf cart.
An inspection or?
Special time we had to get all the lights and stuff.
I think,
Some of them, you know, all this stuff on it, it takes time to put all this stuff on it.
yeah, I don't know if it works in your mouth, you know, probably the inspection sticker wouldn't be issued until that stuff is on the golf cart.
Correct.
Gonna have to get busy.
thank you for your comment and your concern, Derek.
My name's Dale Hayes. I'd like to thank the board for considering this and all the time that y'all have put into this. It's been quite a thing. Appreciate all the support here. I kind of feel like I got this ball rolling here. As far as comments, my name's Dale Hayes. I live at 760 Walnut Street down here. The only comment that I have, I mean, there's been concern about the registration fees, and I don't really see that as being an issue. My issue that I have here is the hours of operation, being limited to daytime hours. And the reason being, say if I were to come to your house actually for a football game, and it doesn't get over till 10 o'clock, do I have to walk home? And how do I, that's my issue there. I understand we're required to have lights, the slow moving vehicle sign on there, and I don't have an issue with any of the safety equipment, but just the hours of operation are my concern. We can consider maybe changing those, something like that,
Sometime down the road, maybe.
or something like that, yeah, just maybe cut off time at midnight or something like that, say from midnight to 6 o'clock or something like that, could be considered. That way, if we go over and play cards at someone's house or something like that.
I understand what you're saying.
Do we have to walk home?
Well,
When we have headlights and all the safety.
this is just a starting point, and we need to get this.
Right, I understand this, that's just what I'm saying, it's something we can maybe think about.
Thank you.
Stan Tiger, 750 Shady Lane. Again, the registration fee, how do you justify $50? Is that to keep people from registering a golf cart because it's expensive?
That's for 2 years.
That's for 2 years, but still, is it cost the town marshal $50 to inspect your golf cart? Why do you need that high a registration fee? We're already paying the town marshal to do his job. I don't see why we need additional money that high. $10 a year would be sufficient. The sticker's what's gonna cost a buck.
I think we're at a little bit disadvantage, and I just now thought of this. The 2 absent members were on the golf cart committee, one was Marshall Taylor, and I don't know, talked about the registration fee. You did change the dollar amount, which is appreciated by everybody, but
There was no consensus on it.
But, you know, what justifies it? Can you justify it? Ask yourself that, you know, if that's, you know, true. I mean, there's not gonna be a lot of people have golf carts, but, you know, $50 might be a lot of money for some people. Me. I ain't like
I'm
John.
your neighbor.
I ain't like John. I'm not rolling the money.
I'll tell you, just don't get any respect,
I'll get you out of this, John.
Okay.
What would you feel would be a reasonable fee?
$10 would be reasonable.
$10 yearly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Scott Swick, 216 Drury Drive. I looked at the earlier ordinance, and I see this one. I'd like to point out to the board and to Dale, correct?
Yes.
You defined what daylight hours are, but unless I'm rereading this under the regulation, that nowhere does it say the golf cart can only be operated during daylight hours. I don't know if this is an oversight, but if you, Pat, where's, point this out, because I've looked 2 or 3 times. Unless I don't have the statement right.
Definitions, part C.
Section 3, E.
Okay, I'm missing a page that will let us hand it to me. That would explain it.
You have my copy.
You guys have 4 pages?
Yes.
Okay, so I missed it. I only have 3.
Okay.
Is there another?
Here, this is the extra copy, you can have it.
Great.
Okay.
Maybe I have a different one.
That's what I
Well,
see.
you guys started talking about
Maybe you have the
operating.
pages he's missing.
I was reading this real quick, and when he said about operating during daylight, the copy I have would say that, so I want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Let me read this, and if I may, if I have any other comments, may I reapproach?
Yes, I think so.
Thank you.
You guys. Any further comments?
John,
You're
while
missing a
he's
page.
studying this, let me comment.
Yes.
First of all, this ordinance is the product of your committee,
Mhm.
which spent a fair amount of time
Yes.
putting the ordinance together. It's also the product of the marshal, who did a fair amount of research and put this thing together. So this is not something that just popped up. And indeed, I know Jason and I read the golf course or golf cart ordinances for about 9 or 10 or 12 different small towns all through middle Indiana to look at these to see if we were getting close or what we were doing. So this thing has been finessed probably as well as any ordinance that I've seen come down the pike since I've been sitting in this chair. And so there it is. And the thing I have enjoyed about it is that the first cut of this ordinance was significantly different than what we see here tonight. Not because there was anything grossly wrong with it, but it was a fine tuning. And the marshal's first cut was a really fine instrument. It's just that every now and then when you let a lawyer have a pencil, he's going to make some changes. And Jason did that. And we found some things in it that we thought were interesting, but we didn't know how you would enforce it. For example, the noise ordinance. That's a tough one to enforce, and you got to have the right kind of equipment. It's just a real pain. And some of the other things that we were in there with, we found the driving on the sidewalk was already covered in the town ordinances to begin with. So we cleaned up some odds and ends like that, and we think that the one that we now have builds upon the work of the committee and the marshal is one that will get us off and running on this. Now, as somebody accurately put out, the only way you really know how these things work is to see experience. And if in 6 months the marshal comes back and says, God help us, this isn't working here, we got to change it, then it is within the power of this board to do that. Or if the citizens look at it and say, it's oppressive, we don't want it, or whatever the reason is, there's nothing in this that is irrevocable, that cannot be changed by this town board acting under its legislative authority. But you got to start someplace. And I think Marshall would agree with me that sometimes the road to success takes several steps. And that's what you're doing here. I give you enough time to read it through, Scott?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I think he wanted back to say something.
Okay.
You're not going to say anything?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Very well, that brings the matter back to the
To
chair.
the vote. There's been a motion made and properly seconded that we approve ordinance 2015-5, and I will call All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Unanimous. Now, for the residents, we were talking earlier, and I don't know whether you were up here before the meeting. This will be brought up at the next regular meeting.
September 14th.
14th, our ordinance says if holiday falls on the meeting night, the first Monday of the month, we move it to the second Monday. Now, and Ron, make sure that we put this on the agenda. Well, I'm just saying.
There'll be a lynching mob looking for you if it's not.
He called me, I was in New York, and he said, what do you want on the agenda? I said, hey, first thing, the golf cart ordinance. I said, we need to get that done. Isn't that right, Ron? So I said, that's the most important thing. We'll get it done. I think we've got a good package here. I know that there's a little tweaking here and there, so.
And there can be amendments at the second reading time, the tweaking as you describe it. And then we also need to know that if it passes on the 14th, then Ron must take it to the newspapers and advertise it, because it is indeed a penal ordinance, and it will not take effect until 30 days after the publication. So there is that statutory time period that we can't do anything about, since what the law requires.
So that's all I have on my agenda for tonight.
Mr. Chairman, wait a minute, you do have one more small thing, I don't know how you want to handle it. But the marshal has provided you with a golf cart registration application.
Oh, okay, yes.
And a release of liability and a home harvest agreement. And since these things are administrative in character, and since you probably haven't read them, I would
No.
suggest that you take these and bring this as part of your discussion on the second reading.
Okay. Does the town have, the residents have copies of these?
Those are just rough drafts.
I think we should, if you could make some copies of those, Ron, so these people, the residents can have a copy to look at, to take with them. So you'll be ready at the next town board meeting.
Yeah, I'll get them for you.
Okay. So after the meeting, if you'll get with Ron, make sure you get that, so you'll be acclimated to what they're talking about in the next board meeting. So, is there anything else?
I have nothing else.
I have nothing. Make a motion.
I got
Oh,
some. On September the 12th, a lady called in here a couple weeks ago, and she needs the gazebo for about an hour for a wedding. She's a local person, something Taylor, her name's Taylor. And
Are you doing weddings too, Mark?
anyway, she's gonna have about 15 people out there.
okay, our usual procedure is what we'll do with that, Ron. Is that what you're asking
Yeah.
for? I forget what the rental is on that, if there's any cost, or, they have to provide insurance, don't they?
I asked Alina, because she was the last one that used it up here, so.
It's $100 for the deposit, and then I gave the $100 and donated it to the town, but you do have to have a rider,
Okay, so,
Yeah.
Insurance.
yeah,
a liability rider.
so, that, just make sure that they know. Okay,
And then, one other thing, this next weekend, the flags will go up again for Labor Day.
yes,
I would like to go back to putting them up. I started it 15 years ago, I put them up for 15 years, I did it free for 15 years.
why don't you put them up?
Okay.
I make a motion, the chair makes a motion, that, and make sure you get paid for it.
That's-
Well, you can donate it back into the flag fund.
Okay.
Second.
Been a motion made and probably seconded that, Kohler, is it gonna be Kohler Brothers or
Just Ron. Just
Ron Kohler, put up the flag for the next, holiday weekend. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor? Say aye.
All right.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you for your participation.